And having said that, it looks like we're straight up. I'll call this meeting to order. This is the Breezy Point City Council. It is a regular council meeting, and the date is October 6, 2014. The time is 7 p.m. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know you all know the drill, but on the back table there's, I believe, one complete packet and some extra agendas. So if you don't have what you need to get through the meeting, it should be there. The packet is to share. Item number 3, we've completed 1 and 2. Consent calendar, we have A, B, and C. We have council minutes from September the 2nd, 2014. We have approval of claims totaling, big number, $241,794.36. And the check numbers are listed, 131,494 through 131,499. And we go to 1149E through 1150E, 131,502 through 131,503. Then we have 131,506 and 131,508 through 131,565. Item number C, final payment. Change order number 2, Creek Circle, White Birch Drive. The total amount there is a payout of $22,012.83. And the details of all of these expenditures are included in the packet. I would start with you, Councilmember Williams. Do you have questions on anything on the consent calendar?
I do have one comment. I don't want it necessarily pulled.
Okay.
On the first page of the minutes, right at the bottom, the motion to accept the donation of property from the Shanewetters, have the building torn down before the end of the year. That was going to be us tearing it down, and so later in the meeting we talked about the cost, where it would come from, but it almost made it sound like we were expecting them to do it. And I don't know if the motion was exactly worded that way.
It was pretty much worded that way, but it was understood by all the council.
That was my only comment.
Anything else that you'd like pulled off the consent calendar? Councilmember Schmidt, is there anything you'd like pulled off the consent calendar? If not, the consent calendar stands as presented. Thank you. At this time, we'll have open forum, and I will remind anyone that's here, if you'd like to speak to an issue, something that's on the agenda or something that isn't on the agenda, please come forward, state your name and address. Try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. The council is listening. We will factor in the information if it's regarding items on tonight's agenda, and we will take your comments and factor those into future discussions regarding whatever topic you want to bring forward. Is there someone who'd like to come up to the microphone for open forum? I recognize this individual.
Morning, Wallers, 8871 Birch Lane, Breezy Point.
Thank you.
On the building takedown, is that going to be done by the city, or is the city going to farm it out to have it taken down?
We don't have exact answers to that yet, Maury, and one of the issues that we're still working on is we've made an offer. They came to us initially. We don't have a clear right to that yet. I mean, they're still working on some of their details and their appraisals. Once we have the building, it is the intent of the city to take the building down per all the rules and regulations that are out there. I mean, there's a question mark, is there asbestos? These are things we would have to explore once it actually becomes ours. It isn't ours yet.
I was just wondering if there's going to incur more cost if it was farmed out to somebody else to take down, or if the city employees would take it down.
Well, obviously we're not wanting to drive the costs up any more than we would have to, so there's an option depending on what we find when it actually becomes the city's. Our people can do some of the things. I know that Joe has talked to the fire chief, hoping that maybe they could do a controlled burn. I mean, there's still so many questions, but certainly the bottom line is we want to take care of it appropriately and, not spending any extra money to do it. You're very welcome. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward? Seeing no one, we'll move on. We're at item number 5 on the agenda, mayor and council member reports. We have, under mayor, setting a special meeting. We do have an election coming up, and let me find the exact statement here. It requires that we canvass the election, state the results, 3 to 10 days following the election. For 2014, the meeting would be required to be held between November 7th and November 14th. Our city administrator has proposed that we meet Monday, November 10th at 4:30 p.m. We have these meetings every year. They rarely last longer than 3 to 5 minutes because we have to, as I said, just look at the results of the election and make that a resolution certifying the votes. So the proposed date is Monday, November 10th at 4:30 p.m. I need a motion if that time works.
I'll make a motion for Monday, November 10th at 4:30 to canvass the election.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries. Administrator's evaluation. We need to set the date for a closed meeting. The administrator, raise your hand. Joe Redberg. How long have you been here now?
4.5 years.
Okay, time flies. Personnel Committee has recognized that a performance review was due in March, but it hasn't yet been accomplished. It was thought that it would be better to have this evaluation while we still have the same council members that have been working with you the last several years. You've included a form in the packet that is proposed for the evaluation of the administrator. Each council member is to fill that form out and submit it to a council representative. This could be the mayor or a member of the Personnel Committee. And then we need to set up a time for a special closed meeting. I would suggest we try and meet in the next 2 weeks. And you're looking at the afternoon, maybe 4:30. I'm going to throw out the dates Tuesday, October 21st, or Wednesday, October 22nd at 4:30. I would entertain a motion to that effect. And if those dates don't work, then we need to throw out some other dates. But would anyone like to make a motion?
Okay, you said either Tuesday or Wednesday?
Correct.
Uh,
But that would be the 21st and the 22nd. Today is the 6th.
Yeah, I'd opt for the Wednesday time, if that's all right with Diane, I would move that.
I'll second.
Further discussion? So the motion before us is to plan on Wednesday, October 22nd at 4:30 for a special closed meeting and the order of business will be relative to the administrator's evaluation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Joe, do we need a motion as to who these completed forms will go to?
You don't necessarily need a motion, but a consensus would be fine.
Okay, Councilmember Schmidt, I know you are one member of the Personnel Committee.
Yeah.
You can accept having those forms come to you, or you can make a motion to have them come to me. And Michael isn't here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Michael isn't here. Do we know if he's even gonna be back for that meeting?
Yes, he will be back
Yeah,
on the
okay.
16th.
Oh, okay. I'm just thinking it'd probably be a good idea to have him go to you.
That's fine.
I would so move that if you'd like a motion to that effect.
That's perfect. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of having the completed evaluation forms go to me? Please say aye.
Aye.
I would ask that when you complete these forms, please place them in a sealed envelope and put them in my box.
Okay.
And that way they'll be there, and it's tempting to be a deadliner, but try to have it done earlier than later, okay? And everyone should be back by then, and they'll know that they have this responsibility ahead of them.
Yeah, I'll send out a letter, just making sure they know the date and time.
Okay.
I'll also have a self-approval or self-evaluation, excuse me, on the meeting for
Okay, thank you very much. We're looking at item B under number 5, council member reports. There is one item there, White Birch Drive extension dash easement, and Councilmember Schmidt, you are again the liaison to the road committee.
Yes.
We have a fairly complete explanation in our packet. This has been an item of discussion for years. And I know you've been part of the recent discussions. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what the issues have been and what you might want to see as the liaison?
Well, I think the objective here is to accept that extension as part of the city's road system. It would seem to me, and I hate to speak for Michael, but we discussed this at some length, and I would say it's safe to say that he was in agreement that the city should accept this extension as part of the city street system. There are a few concerns we have. They're very minor. One was to have an additional right-of-way, I think it was 5 feet on either side,
Yes.
for snow storage, this sort of thing. Another concern we had was any liability issues with that island that would remain in place, and apparently there are none. There are no concerns, from what I can gather, Joe, as to a liability concern. White Birch Inc. will maintain that island with the greenery and landscaping and whatever that we've come accustomed to seeing. There's a stop sign now on the main travel way just before the entrance into the golf club, the restaurant, Antlers. And that sign will be switched to stop traffic coming out of the restaurant, golf club area onto White Birch Drive. In other words, there would be no stop signs on White Birch Drive. That would be the recommendations that I recall. I don't think Joe, I don't think there's anything else.
No, I think that was the only really big deal. You had talked to Bob, as I understood it, he was okay with the sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming somebody has gone through this legal description. It's kind of involved.
It is involved. I went through most of it, but the island is exempted, and that was my biggest concern.
Right.
And so that property will remain in White Birch's hands for their maintenance and whatever. So I think from that perspective, it's pretty well taken care of.
Okay, thank you. I would ask Councilmember Williams, do you have a need to ask a clarifying
Yeah, I
question?
was gonna ask Otto, is there 5 feet for snow storage on each side?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, and it wouldn't hit their decorative business there?
Right.
that Stuff.
Okay, if there's no need for further information, I will consider a motion.
I would move the acceptance of the easement for White Birch Drive, referred to as the extension, so that it's included as part of our public street system.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. And for the sake of anyone here, if I don't speak out and throw my hand around, it means that I concur with the majority, that I am not opposed to what they're saying, and my vote should be counted as being the same as theirs. Thank you for the report. We'll move on to item number 6. Roads Committee, resolution requesting feasibility studies, and this will involve a resolution 14-21. There's a fair amount of information here. The Road Committee has looked at roadways that may be candidates for improvement, assessing them using Minnesota statutes, Chapter 429. They also would like to see an approximate same amount of seal coating done in 2015 as was done in 2014. Roads being discussed are Snowman Circle, and this has been previously engineered and plans were drawn up for paving, so this is a lower cost option because part of the design cost and size of the project are already on the books. Rainier was a better candidate for paving as this street experiences more storm and drainage damage. And if you look at the comprehensive plan, it was noted that both Shady Trail and Rainier Drive are included in the long-range sanitary sewer plan. However, Shady Trail would be difficult to sewer at this time as there are no connecting sewer lines in the immediate area. Rainier Drive, however, has a sewer connection at County Road 11. Another thing about Rainier Drive, some of the lots are relatively small. They have 65-foot frontage. They're 150 feet deep. With sewer service, individual lots could be developed. Without sewer service, it requires 2 lots, given the guidelines that our city now has. A feasibility study for these improvements has been recommended. There is a timeline that we would follow in terms of special meetings that are required if we vote to go forward with this. To list the special meetings, the first would be an open house meeting. This is proposed sometime between November 4th and the 21st. The second would be the improvement hearing, which would be scheduled for December 15th, which is the proposed second council meeting to pay bills, etc. The assessment hearing would be proposed for March 30th. Joe, I have a question regarding some of those dates. I am on the understanding that all property owners, whether they're present or not, will have an opportunity to speak to the issue via mail, and they'll be informed of every step along the way. Correct?
I don't know about every step, but they will be informed along the way.
Major steps. I don't want the comment that we're having all these in the dead of winter so that people who own property can't be there to respond to things.
Well, the goal was to get early bids and get the project done over the summer so it doesn't go over into the winter and into the next season. And so that trying to do that, you just gotta kind of get it done now.
And we, like I said, though, we will be informing all property owners as much as we can along the way.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Councilmember Schmidt, you are the road committee liaison. Do you have new and additional things that I didn't touch on here?
No, I think it was a good report Joe provided on these, on what we considered for paving next year. The whole idea with Rainier in the sewer extension would be in keeping with the comprehensive plan, which noted that this would be one of those natural extensions of the sewer system. And as Joe's report indicates, there is a stub down on County 11 to hook that up. These lots right now are, for all pretense and purposes, not buildable because they could not sustain a on-site septic and well.
Well, they don't meet the minimum zoning requirement. Well, that too, though. They
Yeah.
don't meet the minimum zoning requirements. We'd have to have two.
You have to have combining lots, and you'd have to meet the state requirement, wouldn't you, for square footage?
To meet our zoning code requirement, you would need 2 lots. And
Okay.
You're probably correct on the other. I haven't really done the math to figure that out, but that's probably the case as well.
Yeah. So if we want to see some development on those lots, then I think consideration for that sewer extension would come in play, would be in play.
Any other comment?
No, but we were made aware that there was some previous engineering done on Snowman. And if I recall, when we left that meeting, there was going to be a review of those documents to see.
Yes. Actually, Mike and I talked about this last week, just briefly, and there is some issues with storm drainage and slope easements.
There's some slope easements and drainage easements and things like that, and snowman that are required by the plans that we may want to talk about.
We may want to reconsider some of that issue if we can. But other than that, I mean, the quantities are there for paving and those sorts of things, so I think a good part of it's done.
Okay.
Councilmember Williams, would you like to ask any clarifying questions?
Yeah, I would. If the sewer were to go up Rainier, is the intent then eventually to continue it on over and bring it into some of those other areas, like you talk about Shady Trail, or is it just that's it?
Well, I mean, eventually, the comprehensive plan calls for all Whitefish 15 and 16 to be sewer. And then also that area south of Rainier is to all be sewer.
Right, because I know there was concerns about wells in the area with dense development in there, that the wells would not be good. That, I mean, that was sort of a warning from Tim.
Okay. That part I don't know, but I mean, it's 15 and 16 is probably 20 to, I don't know, 30 years out before we need sewer up there or get sewer up there. And that's at least my opinion.
And then there's mention of trying to do as much of that seal coating next year, as there's no listing of those roads yet.
Well, when we had looked at the seal coating last year, we had listed a bunch of roads that we could accommodate, and there's like Ski Chalet, and I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there was a listing that we discussed at that time. Road committee recommended what we ended up doing, but there were others on the list that are candidates.
Ski Chalet intersects Rainier, so it would not get damaged or anything in the process of this construction, would it, if we're going to do a seal coating?
Well, it conceivably could. It depends on where you put the manhole and those sorts of things. Typically, your manhole will go in your center, probably Ski Chalet, and it could be damaged, but there would be new pavement put in, so a seal coat wouldn't be needed.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yep, I do. And then it said about problems with final costs. Because the amount of additional cost, was that like typical for a project? Because it was kind of a high percent, I thought. So then it says this would need to be worked on. I wondered what you would do up front to not have problems with final cost versus assessed expenses, and it needs to be worked on. So what would we do to avoid that?
Well, the reason we experienced the higher cost from this project was the utility company did not come in and lower the utility lines prior to the project. And so we need to be diligent about getting them in there and getting them listed on their projects for the year and get that done so that we won't have that problem.
So that's where our extra
That's
cost
where
came?
the extra cost is.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause it kind of was left open, and it said it needs to be worked on, and like,
Well, I
you
want to
know,
write a whole nother page about it, so.
okay,
Anything else?
no.
Okay, at this point, what we're being asked to do is possibly pass a motion regarding Resolution 14-21. It's been prepared to request the preparation of a feasibility report on paving improvements of Snowman Circle, Shady Trail, and sanitary sewer and paving of Rainier Drive. Consideration of this resolution would be appreciated. Would anyone care to make a motion regarding Resolution 14-21?
I would move Resolution 1421.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Schmidt, do you wish to make further comment?
No, but I believe, Joe, that list that we had for seal coating candidates, that my understanding was that Brian was going to go back and finalize that.
Yeah, we were going to talk about that as a committee. We hadn't gotten there.
We haven't gotten there yet, but
The other part of that was we wanted to see what these costs are, make a decision about what we will construct or proposing to construct, and then that dictates the budget for next year on the seal coating.
right, but it suffice to say, if we have anything left over, depending on what the council wants to do with these paving requests, that would be placed towards seal coating, at least.
Yeah, and if we don't
Part of that
spend it,
list.
it will go in the road improvement fund and revolve capital, so it's not lost.
I have a question now.
One second. Do you have any other questions or comments? Okay.
He said paving requests. Were these roads requested?
They were not petitioned.
Not petition, no. These were generated by the city and by the roads committee.
Okay. Any other questions? We have a motion on the floor regarding Resolution 14-21, which is in our packet. All those in favor of passing that
Aye.
motion? Opposed? Thank you. I thought for a minute you were voting, Joe. I heard no.
I heard a no.
We're having a second meeting.
I see.
We're not.
Good. For the good of the group, right? Item number 2, under 6, contract for engineering services, WSN. And I don't have a thing in my packet about that. Well, I do, actually. No, I don't, but I know about it. So,
Don't have this thing?
well, the summary of
There.
services, this one here, but that
that's
comes
it.
before this. Contract for engineering services, WSN. That's the longer one. WSN proposal for engineering services for Snowman, Shady Trail, and Rainier Drive. I thought maybe we were going to talk about switching hats a little bit. No, we're not doing that, okay. Okay, we have information about the 3 roads that have just been talked about. If you do your math, there are some numbers that include field survey, utility locations and easements, final design, construction documents and bidding, construction phase for each of the 3 roads that have been brought into discussion: Rainier Drive, Shady Trail, and Snowman Circle. If I add up all the numbers that are in our packet regarding these steps, the total cost for Rainier Drive to do all the things that are proposed would be $19,880. For Shady Trail, it would be $24,850. And for Snowman Circle, it would be $4,970. I have added those numbers that were in front there. Again, I know you had a lot of discussion on this. Councilmember Schmidt, do you wish to make a comment?
Well, no. The only comment you make is that somewhere along the line, we have to make a decision to either proceed or not proceed, Joe. And I think if my memory serves, we have to have that feasibility report. That's going to be done one way or the other, correct? But
Correct.
if we decide not to proceed, then we can stop.
We stop the process, we stop the billing.
Okay.
The money spent is money that we will probably, the results of what we've done, it'll be information we can use in the future, correct?
That's correct. I mean, what we spend, or what they accomplish today, we pay for, but anything after we stop, obviously, will not be an obligation to the city.
Okay.
Well, that's always a consideration that we've had, but I would see, hopefully that either all of those or maybe 2 of those projects would be accomplished next year.
Okay, we have a copy of a sheet here in our packet, proposed by WSN, accepted by the City of Breezy Point. The above proposal is satisfactory and WSN is authorized to do the work as specified and in accordance with the attached general conditions. Payment will be made monthly in accordance with the terms of the attached fee schedule. And that's clearly outlined in the packet. Do I have a motion that we move forward on this?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Councilmember Schmidt, do you wish to make further comment?
No.
Councilmember Williams?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 3, accepting improvements, Creek Circle and White Birch Drive. This will involve Resolution 14-22. The engineer has recommended approval and acceptance of the project. With the final pay request and the completion of the punch list items for this project, the city will be assuming maintenance activities for this project once we accept it. Resolution 14-22 has been drafted for council consideration in accepting the improvements made to Creek Circle and White Birch Drive. Anyone have a need for clarifying information? Councilmember Williams? No. Councilmember Schmidt?
No.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion for resolution 14-22.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Madam Mayor, just a question for Joe.
Sure.
I was over there today and I noticed those locational markers are still there.
They haven't had time to remove them yet.
Oh, okay, but are they,
They're gonna all be removed.
they're all